It's nothing personal, Maria, Harold Barnes said, not bothering to look up from his computer as he dismissed 15 years of loyal service. We're upgrading the building's image, going more upscale. I stood in his office, still wearing my cleaning uniform, my hands raw from scrubbing floors all morning. Upscale, I repeated, trying to keep my voice steady. Yes. He finally glanced at me, his expression a practiced mix of corporate condescension and fake sympathy. The new owners want to attract more prestigious tenants. We're bringing in a professional cleaning service. I am professional, I said quietly. I've cleaned this building for 15 years. I know every inch of it. That's not the point. He sighed like I was a child failing to understand simple math. Barnes & Associates is growing. We need this building to reflect our status. You understand, don't you? I understood perfectly. I understood that the small law firm I'd watched grow from 2 attorneys to 20 no longer wanted a middle-aged Mexican woman cleaning their precious offices. I understood that all those mornings I'd arrived at 4 a.m. to make sure everything was spotless before their first client meeting meant nothing. My severance? I asked, pride making my spine straight despite the humiliation burning in my chest. 2 weeks' pay. He slid an envelope across his mahogany desk, the same desk I'd polished every night for years. You can finish out the week. I took the envelope, resisting the urge to tell them how many of his company's secrets I knew from emptying their trash and overhearing late-night conversations. How many confidential documents I'd seen carelessly left on desks and fax machines. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Barnes, I said instead, my accent careful and measured like my mother had taught me. Always be gracious, Maija, even when they don't deserve it. He was already back to typing on his computer, dismissing me from his mind as easily as he dismissed me from my job. I walked out of Barnes & Associates past the other offices I cleaned in the 12-story building. Accountants, insurance agents, a small tech startup. Most of them barely knew my name, though I knew everything about them. Which ones came in early, which stayed late, which were having affairs with their secretaries. My cart waited in the hallway, cleaning supplies neatly organized. 15 years of 4 a.m. starts, of back-breaking work, of being invisible unless something wasn't perfectly clean. All ended with a 2-week severance check and a casual dismissal. Mama? My daughter's voice came through my phone as I rode the elevator down. How did it go? Sophia. The reason I'd worked so hard, why I cleaned offices while studying English at night, why I'd saved every extra penny I could. They're letting me go, I said simply. Silence for a moment. Then, I'll be home in an hour. Don't cook, I'm bringing dinner. You have classes. They can wait. This is more important. I smiled despite everything. My brilliant daughter, in her 2nd year of business school, still thought having dinner with her mother was more important than her studies. At home, the small apartment I'd maintained alone since Sophia's father died 12 years ago, I sat at our tiny kitchen table and opened the severance envelope. 2 weeks' pay, $840 before taxes, barely enough for 1 month's rent. Sophia arrived with takeout from our favorite Mexican restaurant and a determined look in her eye. This is good, she announced, setting out containers of enchiladas and rice. Now you can finally do it. Do what? Start your own business, like you've always talked about. I shook my head. Sophia, starting a cleaning business takes money. Which you have, she interrupted. I know about your savings, Mama, the account you think I don't know about. I stared at her. How did you? I'm studying finance, remember? I've seen your bank statements and my help with the bills. $23,000, hidden away in that secret account. She reached for my hand across the table. Plus the $12,000 in your regular savings. That's $35,000, Mama. Enough to start something real. She was right about the money. For 15 years, I'd saved everything I could, taking extra cleaning jobs on weekends, living as frugally as possible. The secret account was meant to be Sophia's graduate school fund, but she'd already won a full scholarship. It's too risky, I protested. At my age. You're 48, not dead. Sophia's eyes blazed with the same determination her father's had shown when he first asked me to marry him. And you know more about commercial cleaning than any of those professional services Barnes is hiring. She pulled out her laptop, her most prized possession, bought with her scholarship money. Look what I found. She showed me a website for a commercial cleaning franchise. Initial investment, $30,000. They provide training, supplies, insurance, everything you need to start. But here's the best part, you don't need it. What do you mean? You already have better connections than they do. How many business owners have you talked to over the years? How many have complained about their current cleaning services? She wasn't wrong. I'd lost count of the times I'd heard tenants complaining of the expensive cleaning services they use for their other properties, services that often did a worse job than I did. Think about it, Sophia continued, warming to her subject. You start small, underbid the big companies but provide better service, build a reputation, then expand. I looked at my daughter, so confident, so certain of success, just like her father had been. Manuel had always believed in taking risks, in building something of our own. Before cancer took him, he'd made me promise to give Sophia every opportunity possible. Maybe it was time to give myself an opportunity too. Okay, I said slowly, but we do this smart. No franchise fees. We start small, build slowly. Sophia's face lit up. Really? You'll do it? Yes. I squeezed her hand. But first, you help me write a letter to Mr. Barnes. The letter was simple but pointed. Dear Mr. Barnes, thank you for 15 years of employment at Barnes & Associates. While I regret that my services no longer meet your standards, I appreciate the opportunity to have learned so much about commercial property maintenance and business operations. I will complete my final week as requested. Please ensure my replacement knows about the faulty lock on the supply closet door, the temperamental heating system on the 8th floor, and Mr. Davidson's severe dust allergies. Best regards, Maria Suarez. I hand-delivered it to his office the next morning. He probably never even read it. The next few weeks were a blur of activity. Sophia helped me register the business, Elite Commercial Services, a name she chose because it sounds expensive, and create professional-looking business cards and flyers. I used some of my savings to buy commercial-grade equipment, better than what I'd been using at Barnes & Associates. My first client was easy. Dr. Patel, a dentist who'd always treated me with respect when I cleaned his office in the building. When he heard I was starting my own company, he immediately hired me to clean his other 2 practices. Finally, he said, signing the contract, someone who knows what they're doing. Word spread. Within 2 months, I had contracts for 6 small medical offices and 3 law firms. I hired 2 workers, both experienced cleaners I knew from my years in the business. Unlike the big companies, I paid them well and treated them with respect. 6 months in, Elite Commercial Services had 15 clients and 5 employees. Sophia helped me set up proper payroll and insurance systems, using what she was learning in her business classes. Every night, she'd come home excited to show me something new she'd learned that could help the company grow. You need to think bigger, Mama, she said one evening as we reviewed the books. You're making more profit than Barnes & Associates pays their cleaning service and providing better quality. How do you know what they pay? She grinned. I have my sources, and I know their new service is terrible. 3 complaints in the last month alone. I tried not to feel satisfied about that, but I did. Especially when I heard through the grapevine that the professional service Barnes had hired was charging twice what I used to cost them. 1 year after being fired, Elite Commercial Services had 30 clients and 12 employees. We'd moved into a small office of our own, complete with a storage room for supplies and a break room for the staff. Sophia insisted on professional uniforms for everyone, dark blue with the company logo she'd designed. That's when I got the call that would change everything. Mrs. Suarez? The voice was unfamiliar. This is David Chen from Meridian Property Group. We're interested in discussing your services for our entire portfolio of buildings. I sat up straighter. Meridian was one of the largest commercial property owners in the city. Of course, Mr. Chen. I'd be happy to meet. Actually, he interrupted. We'd like you to come to our offices tomorrow morning. Our CEO would like to speak with you directly. The next day, I walked into Meridian's luxurious downtown headquarters wearing my best suit, another of Sophia's insistences. You're a CEO now, Mama. Dressed like one. The CEO of Meridian Property Group was not what I expected. Sarah Chin was maybe 40, dressed in a simple black dress that probably cost more than my monthly payroll. She greeted me with a firm handshake and a direct gaze. Mrs. Suarez, she gestured to the chair across from her desk. Thank you for coming. I've heard interesting things about your company. I sat down, back straight, channeling Sophia's confidence. Good things, I hope. Very good. She opened a folder on her desk. You've taken 15 clients from advanced commercial cleaning in the past year. All of them report higher satisfaction rates with your service despite your lower prices. I nodded, wondering where this was going. Advanced Clean has been our provider for 10 years, she continued. We have 63 properties in their portfolio, but lately their quality has been declining. My heart started beating faster. 63 properties? We're considering making a change, Sarah said, but I have concerns about your company's capacity to handle that volume. I met her gaze steadily. Give me 3 buildings as a test. If we don't exceed your expectations in every way, you don't have to consider us for the rest. She smiled, a quick, sharp expression. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. She pulled out a contract. 3 buildings, 90-day trial period. If you succeed, we'll discuss the full portfolio. I read the contract carefully, just as Sophia had taught me. The terms were fair, the expectations clear. The 3 buildings were all downtown, including, I noticed, the one where Barnes & Associates had their offices. When can you start? Sarah asked as I signed. Next week, I said confidently, already planning the staff expansion we'd need. 1 week. She raised an eyebrow. That's ambitious. I've been preparing for an opportunity like this, I replied. My team is ready. That night, I called an emergency staff meeting at our office. All 12 of my employees came, even though it was 8 p.m. We have an opportunity, I told them. But I'll need everyone's help, and we'll need to hire more people fast. They didn't hesitate. Carmen, my first hire, immediately suggested her sister and cousin, both experienced cleaners. Oza knew a whole family who just moved from El Salvador, all with commercial cleaning experience. By the end of the week, we'd hired 10 new employees. Sophia helped me revise our training programs, creating detailed checklists and procedures for every task. We bought new equipment, ordered more uniforms, and set up a proper scheduling system. Our first night in the Barnes & Associates building, I made sure to be there personally. The professional service had left it in terrible shape. Dust in the corners, streaky windows, trash bins overflowing. We have a lot of work to do, I told my team, but this is our chance to show what real professionals look like. We worked through the night, restoring the building to the standards I'd maintained for 15 years. When the first tenants arrived the next morning, they couldn't believe the difference. By the end of the 90-day trial, Meridian Properties had received so many compliments about our service that they didn't even wait for the formal review. Sarah Chen called me directly. How quickly can you take over the rest of our portfolio? We expanded rapidly but carefully. I insisted on maintaining our high standards, personally training each new employee. Sophia, now in her final year of business school, helped me create proper management systems and financial controls. 2 years after being fired as just a cleaner, I sat in my new office, a proper corporate suite downtown, reviewing our company's growth with Sophia. Revenue is up 300% from last year, she reported proudly. We have 140 employees, service contracts for 87 buildings, and a waiting list of potential clients. I smiled, remembering the days of scrubbing floors at 4 a.m. and Barnes & Associates. She grinned. Still complaining about every cleaning service they try. They've gone through 3 since Advanced Clean. That's when I saw it, a notice in the commercial real estate listings. The Barnes & Associates building was for sale. The owners were facing bankruptcy, looking for a quick sale. Sophia, I said slowly, what would you think about buying a building? She looked at the listing, her eyes widening. That building, can we afford it? With our current revenue and assets, I did some quick calculations. We'd need financing, but it's possible. She was already pulling up financial models on her laptop, skills she'd learned in business school now put to use for our company. If we use the company's profits as collateral and with your personal assets, yes, we could make this work. I thought about Harold Barnes, about his casual dismissal of my worth, about all the tenants who'd treated me as invisible during my years cleaning their offices. Make the calls, I told Sophia, but keep my name out of it. Use the holding company we set up. The negotiations took 2 months. The owners, desperate for cash, accepted our offer, slightly below market value, but all cash, thanks to some creative financing Sophia arranged. The day we closed the deal, I waited until late afternoon, when I knew Harold Barnes would be in his office. I wore my best suit, no more cleaning uniform, and took the elevator to the 9th floor. His office door was open. He was on the phone, probably with another client he overcharged. I knocked on the doorframe. He looked up, irritation crossing his face at being interrupted. Then confusion as he tried to place me. "Yes," he said, covering the phone's mouthpiece. "Can I help you?" "Hello, Mr. Barnes," I said clearly, my accent now refined by 2 years of corporate meetings. "I'm here about your lease." He frowned. "My lease? Are you with the property management company?" In a way, I stepped into his office, the same office where he'd fired me 3 years ago. "I'm the new owner of this building." The phone slipped from his hand. I enjoyed watching the recognition dawn on his face, followed by disbelief and then something close to fear. "Maria?" he stammered. "But, you're a cleaner." "I was a cleaner," I corrected him. "Now I'm the CEO of Elite Commercial Services, which provides premium cleaning and maintenance services to over 80 high-end properties in this city. And as of today, I own this building." He seemed to shrink in his expensive chair. "About what happened?" I held up a hand. "I'm not here about the past, Mr. Barnes. I'm here about your future. Your lease is up for renewal next month. Are you going to evict us?" I smiled, remembering his words about upgrading the building's image. "No, Mr. Barnes. Unlike some people, I don't dismiss long-term relationships for the sake of image. But there will be some changes." I handed him a folder containing the new lease terms Sophia and I had carefully crafted. "Your rent will increase to match market rates. The building will undergo major renovations to actually become upscale, as you once put it. And of course, all tenants will be required to use Elite Commercial Services for their cleaning needs." He opened the folder with trembling hands. "This rent increase, it's significant. Quality comes at a price," I said using the same condescending tone he'd once used with me. "You understand, don't you?" He looked at me then, really looked at me, and I saw the moment he understood. Understood that the woman he dismissed as just a cleaner now held the power to affect his business, his success, his future. "I'll need your decision by Friday," I said, turning to leave. Then I paused at the door. "Oh, and Mr. Barnes, the cleaning crew starts at 6 a.m. now, not 4 a.m. I believe in treating my employees with respect." Walking out of his office, I felt no triumph, no vindictive pleasure, only a deep satisfaction in knowing that I had built something meaningful, not just a successful company, but a legacy of respect and dignity for the kind of work I had once done. That evening, I hosted a dinner for all my employees and their families at an upscale restaurant, the kind of place I used to clean but could never afford to eat at. Over 100 people attended, representing dozens of countries and cultures. Sophia stood up to make a toast. "To my mother," she said, raising her glass, "who taught me that no honest work is beneath dignity and no dream is beyond reach." I looked around at the faces of my employees, my extended family now, and thought about the journey that had brought me here. From invisible cleaner to respected CEO, from powerless worker to influential owner. The next morning, I arrived at my building, just as the cleaning crew was finishing up. Carmen, now our operations manager, was showing a new employee the proper way to clean the executive offices. "Good morning, Mrs. Suarez," they greeted me with genuine warmth. "Good morning," I replied, noting how spotless everything was. "Excellent work, as always." I took the elevator to my new office on the top floor, the one with the best view of the city. As I unlocked the door, I saw Harold Barnes arriving in the lobby below, looking uncomfortable as he passed the cleaning crew. I smiled, remembering Sophia's words from the night before. No honest work is beneath dignity, and no dream is beyond reach. Opening my computer, I began reviewing plans for our next expansion. After all, there were plenty more buildings in this city that could use an upgrade in their cleaning services, and I knew just the company to provide it.